So today we're going to be discussing how to increase adolescents' daily participation in moderate to vigorous physical activity. So just a little bit of background about why we're doing this. So the current state of physical activity in Canadian youth is quite low, state of fitness and health. And really what we scored for an overall physical activity level is a D+. We're just not active enough in our society. The 5 metrics that they use to kind of measure this that are movement-based, there is not one score higher than a D+, and we are seeing that as our society becomes more and more reliant on technology and more sedentary, this is having a knock-on effect onto our children's activity levels. So these 24-hour movement guidelines that were put out in 2016 outlined how much activity a child should get. So children aged 5 to 17 should be getting at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity per day. And what they saw is that less than 1 in 5 children in Canada are actually getting this recommended amount. In Ontario schools specifically, there's a number of issues that are obviously contributing to this lack of physical activity. So whether it's not having enough physical education specialists to actually deliver curriculum, not having any policies regarding daily physical activity, not adhering to the province's mandated daily physical activity program, which talks about having 20 minutes of physical activity a day in a classroom-based setting, as well as phys ed only being required up until grade 9 in Ontario, are all things that contribute to the fact that our kids just aren't moving enough in a place where they spend most of their time, which is school. So moving to the future, what does this look like? Obviously, the physical activity levels are going to drop, the health and fitness levels are going to drop, but also not just the physical fitness, it's also the other side, so the psychosocial markers of health. So emotional health, mental health, social health, all these things are affected when somebody doesn't get to move enough, somebody doesn't have a healthy lifestyle. And what we're seeing is that the less we emphasize these things in school, in sports programs, in rec programs, we're going to miss this critical opportunity to really affect behavioral change in our students and create ways for them to live a healthy lifestyle, both in their current reality as well as beyond. So an MPK graduate can really just help to educate professionals about ways not only to get people moving better and more efficiently, but also how to improve or how to really change their behaviors and through exercise. So looking at things like program design, exercise prescription, but also training environments and how to create a training environment that's motivating and empowering to maximize opportunities for success is another way that an MPK graduate can play a role in this aspect of changing the current climate of physical activity in our society. So one example I'm going to use is a school-based example where an MPK graduate could run a workshop for physical education teachers. And really, they're going to obviously be looking at the movement side of things, so the key features, cueing, how to run group sessions, but also how to get teachers thinking about ways they can motivate students and empower them and engage them so that they actually want to do the physical activity, but at the same time, think about ways that they can start to change behaviors to become more healthy in the long run. And then obviously using things to design both their programming, but also how to integrate that into the curriculum could be other ways that the MPK graduate could really help these physical education teachers in their practice. So using this RE-AIM framework, we're going to look at one simple way to increase the amount of moderate to vigorous physical activity students are getting in school using an intramural sport program. So for the reach, what we're going to really look at is reaching out to those students who are not already part of a competitive inter-school team or already part of their physical education program. So trying to get the population who is not getting nearly enough physical activity, either at school or outside of school, but really trying to maximize the amount of students who are going to be participating in this intramural program and drawing from the pool of students who are not already physically active. In terms of the efficacy, so obviously we would have to do a census survey first and during this program to see what the demographics of the students are involved are. But at the same time, what we're going to be looking for is a higher or the highest percentage of students to be coming from this targeted population that we're looking for. We're looking for a higher representation of them. And really what we're looking for is obviously students who are already physically active in PE as well as inter-school sport teams to be a part of the intramural program, but we want to try and gain as many students as possible from this targeted population so that we can increase the physical activity levels of them, but also as a school as a whole. In terms of adoption, so just showcasing how this program could actually be successful through using statistics, so the participation percentages, but at the same time using student reporting to help kind of broadcast the effect that it's having on them is a really good way to do so. So using social media or the school website to really spread the word about the potential of this program is a really big thing, and using student voice is a really powerful and meaningful way to do so because it's actually an authentic measure of how well a program is really working. In terms of the implementation, so the consistency of delivery is going to look a little bit different across schools, but really what we want to happen is that once schools start to implement the intramural programs, they start to talk to one another, talk about their successes, talk about their ideas, how they actually got this jump started. And by doing so, sharing these success stories with one another and kind of giving that outline of their program and what they're currently doing, we can see that it can kind of lay a blueprint for those schools who are thinking about implementing a program as such. But it could also allow these schools to be kind of leaders within their own community and kind of talk to other people about how to actually run an intramural-based program. Finally, for the maintenance of the sustainability, so obviously at the local level, having that committed leadership team to run the program, but in terms of how to expand this and create a longer term orientation or more sustainability of this model is really getting those success stories out there, bringing it to the board level and seeing if there's a way that it could be mandated into the curriculum, such as the DPA program for elementary schools, and really allowing them to see how an intramural program as such can have such a large effect or a positive effect on such a large amount of schools. And then further reinforcing this in health and physical education workshops, teacher training, school staff meetings, as well as parental or parent-teacher association meetings can really help to change the culture of schools when it comes to maximizing opportunities for students to be physically active. Finally, just some closing thoughts. So schools must improve their movement ecology. So having environments that are safe and inclusive and inviting for movement and fun and play are ways that we can also increase moderate to vigorous physical activity. And then classroom-based teachers can also play a role in getting their classrooms a little bit more kinesthetic-based and getting students moving around. Even if it's not Mvpa, it can still be movement-based so that children are actually moving instead of sitting in a desk all day long. Another side of it is educating parents about the importance of play and these guidelines and the participation action report card to get them to start seeing the importance of it. And then just finding ways to reduce barriers for students, especially the marginalized groups, to provide opportunities for them to be more active and supported. And then finally, just getting people to understand that movement matters because movement is a very important part of life, and improving physical literacy is one of the intended outcomes.